How close are Jonathan Taylor and Antonio Gibson in value? Naturally, you go to the running back rankings, PPR in this case, to find the answer. The winner? Jonathan Taylor, scoring 252.8 points, 16.9 average in 15 games in PPR formats while finishing as running back number 6 on the year. Gibson trailed that effort with 202.2 points, 14.4 average in 14 games in the same format, finishing as running back number 13 on the year. Let us dive deeper into each player. Outside of weeks 4, 15, and 17, scoring 20 points in PPR meant that the running back in question was a top 10 running back that week. We will use that as a reference number. The players. Jonathan Taylor achieved the 20-point threshold 3 times, 22.5 in week 13, 30.5 in week 14, 38.4 in week 17. Outside of weeks 4, 8, 9, and 10, Jonathan Taylor scored double digits, minimum of 13.2 points. He was targeted 40 times and hauled in 36, 90% of his targets. He had 20-plus carries 4 times in his rookie year. If you selected weeks 11 through 17, he played in 6 of 7 games, scoring 24.3 points on average, finishing as running back number 3 in that stretch. Week by week, starting from 11, he scored 15.4 points, 22.5 points, 30.5 points, 19.5 points, 19.4 points, and 38.4 points. Antonio Gibson achieved the 20-point threshold 3 times, 22.8 points in week 4, 22.5 points in week 10, 36.6 points in week 12. Outside of weeks 1, 6, 13, 16, and 17, more on that, Antonio Gibson scored double digits, a minimum of 10.1 points. He was targeted 44 times and hauled in 36 targets, 81%. He had 20 carries twice in his rookie year. If you select weeks 7 through 12, he played in 5 of 5 games, scoring 21.6 points on average. If you further that stretch from weeks 2 through 12, he played in 10 of 10 games, scoring 17.5 points on average, finishing as running back number 5 in that stretch. Week by week, starting from week 2, 12.2 points, 13.0, 22.8, 10.1, 9.5, 18.8, 12.5, 22.5, 17.4, 36.6. Back to earlier, weeks 13, 16, and 17, Gibson had been affected by a turf toe injury. In week 13, Gibson suffered a turf toe injury 4 snaps into the game against the Pittsburgh Steelers. He returned injured to play in week 16, 17, and help his team make a playoff push, scoring 9.9 in week 16, 9.1 in week 17. He also carried the ball a total of 19 times in week 17. The profiles. It is impossible to get an apples-to-apples comparison between Jonathan Taylor and Antonio Gibson due to Gibson's turf toe injury, but you can with their profiles. The two players are so alike, yet so different at the same time. Their birthdays are 6 months and 27 days apart from one another, while their athletic profiles are nearly identical. Maybe this is what brother from another mother truly means. Jonathan Taylor stands in at 5'10", 226 pounds, with a 32.4 BMI. Antonio Gibson stands in at 6 foot, 0 inches, 228 pounds, and a 30.9 BMI. They both share a 40-yard dash time of 4.39 seconds that puts them in the 98th percentile. Jonathan Taylor achieved 17 reps on the bench press in the combine. Antonio Gibson achieved 16 reps on the bench press. Yet they are completely different. Jonathan Taylor went to Wisconsin, in the Big Ten Conference, packed with good defensive teams. Antonio Gibson went to Memphis, a school in the Group of 5 conferences, the American Athletic Conference. While a good competition, it is not the Big Ten. Jonathan Taylor came into the NFL as a proven workhorse running back, having carried the ball 926 times for 6,174 yards in 41 games. 1,977 came in his freshman year, 2,194 in his sophomore year, 2,003 in his junior year. Antonio Gibson had come into the NFL as a giant question mark. He had only carried the ball 33 times and 44 receptions in his career of 19 games at Memphis. He, Gibson, also carried the ball 43 times in junior college in 19 games. He had a total of 38 games, 76 carries, and 94 receptions, both JUCO and NCAA Division I. Jonathan Taylor had finished 6th, 9th, 5th in Heisman voting in his freshman, sophomore, junior years. He was a consensus All-American his sophomore and junior years. He won the Doak Walker Award, the best college running back, his final 2 years, as well as being the Big Ten running back of the year in the same years. The 2017 winner was Saquon Barkley. Taylor gave Barkley a run for his money as a freshman. Antonio Gibson was named the Special Teams Player of the Year in 2019, as well as making first-team All-AAC in 2019 as a return specialist, and second-team All-AAC as a wide receiver in the same year. Off the top of my head, the best analogy is if you were to have two diamonds. One is polished and ready for sale at a premium, and the other diamond that needs some TLC, but with a little polish, has a ton of potential. They are the same, all the while, they are quite different. The injury. Let me start with the statement. I am not a doctor. I have not taken a medical class outside of health class in high school. Therefore, I defer to public information, and luckily for us, there are surgeons who are professionals in this field who give us information. It is impossible to blow off Gibson's turf toe injury as some minor issue that is in the past. A minor turf toe grade 1 would have been healed by now. A grade 2 is a partial tear of the ligament. A grade 3 is a full tear. Speculation does us no good, and I have zero clue what a grade 3 would mean for Gibson. I am not a doctor. However, if it were grade 2 and he were to get surgery now, it would likely heal before camp begins. Getting surgery would also greatly reduce the risk of re-injury. If he does not get surgery, it is not something to just blow off. The chance for re-injury is there, and it would be a concern. Also, something to note, if he's able to come back with no problems, that bodes very well for Gibson. He's a running back that has shown the ability to play with the big boys, and the fact that he entered the NFL with 850 less carries means he has entered with much less wear and tear on his body compared to Jonathan Taylor. Questions. Would you draft Etienne over Taylor and or Gibson? If Gibson elects for surgery, I would draft Taylor, Gibson, Etienne in that order. It wouldn't be a far gap between Gibson and Taylor, fantasy and dynasty. If he does not elect for surgery, it is a concern, and it moves Etienne above Gibson for me in fantasy. If pressed, I'd still take Gibson over Etienne in dynasty. 2. Is Gibson's injury significantly affecting where you value him? If he gets the surgery, the answer is no. If he does not, it bumps him a few running back spots, and in my eyes, it's significant given he could, if healthy, he could be a top 5 running back. What are the main differentiating factors in the values of Gibson and Taylor? Injury and prior accolades. Jonathan Taylor is a once-in-a-lifetime kind of back. Gibson could easily be that back, but it's a smaller sample size. Given Gibson played primarily wide receiver in college, shouldn't it add significance that he saw better performance earlier, prior to injury, than a polished, highly sought-after running back who played significant snaps as a running back in 3 years in college? I believe it should. It should also be noted of what he did while he was injured. He is a tough dude. I think if he performs on par with Taylor for another year, it would bump Gibson above Taylor by a hair, considering how much less wear and tear his body has endured, given the 850 less carries in college. If he's on par with Taylor, then it means he's a pretty damn good back. Does Gibson coming into the NFL change how you view under-the-radar prospects, or do you consider him as a one-off? No, every single player is their own one-off, and trying to say XX is the next YY is flat-out ridiculous. Justin Jefferson isn't the next Randy Moss. He's the next Justin Jefferson. Just like Kyle Pitts is not the next Calvin Johnson, he's the next Kyle Pitts. That's not to say you can't draw comparisons. As always, Thank you for listening, and you all have a good one.